your life. Moments when you realize nothing will ever be the same, and time is divided into two parts. Before this and after this. Now sometimes you can feel such a moment coming. That's the test. Or so I tell myself. I tell myself that at times like that, strong people keep moving forward anyway. No matter what they're going to find.
What up, everybody? Thank y'all for joining me. Before we get started, got a little PSA real quick. How y'all doing out there? Y'all doing good? Word.
Let me have a few opinions.
This era already been over. Now it's just a battle between straw men and tin soldiers. Keep an eye out for the poachers and the vultures that preach to the chorus and expose our worst impulses. Infidel from info kill infidels. A lot of rap fans treat rap like a minstrel show. Yo, a lot of rappers rap like tribute acts. Attributes to tributaries, tributes calling ghettos black. Y'all got me looking like Kelsey Grammer house in the hills, paying your bills like I'm fucking Hammer. Y'all should be fucking enamored, but you stuck on stupid like I'm stuck on the map. You might remember me and Jason Griff from Adapt. Brought calm to a nation via fireside chat. For that we should be lionized. Listen to my diatribe, louder than a bomb, and when I'm tired, got a flying eye. Yo, I'm a misfit in this microcosm. The Michael Jackson of prognosis with microdoses.
Yeah, that's my man Alaska. My man Alaska got a new joint that has dropped already, I believe. And you can pick it up at his Bandcamp. You know what I'm saying? But welcome everybody to this this special occasion. I do have, let's get the semantics out of the way. I do have the Celestial Clockwork double vinyl. It is now available. Available for pre-order at illogic.bandcamp.com. You can pick that up. It's getting low. It's less than 150, I believe, left. So get yours while they last. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, we're gonna have this deep dive. We're gonna deep dive, and I'm gonna go through the song and lyric by lyric and line by line, and kind of give y'all what I was thinking and the thoughts that go with it. I'm really excited to be sharing this with y'all. Definitely excited to be sharing it. So we do have, as always, we have the verse of the week, but the verse of the week is going to be a little different this week. This week, it's going to be all about Celestial. So, in saying that, I'm going to hit y'all with the verse. You know what I'm saying? What up, Chad? All right, so the verse of this week is from The Only Constant, and I'm going to do it a little differently than I usually do. Because, this is about the lyrics, you know what I'm saying? This is about, what we got popping with Celestial Clockwork. So the verse of this week is The Only Constant. Now, I'm going to go through these song by song, and yeah, it's gonna be dope. All right, verse of the week. I'm doing them a cappella as well. I'm stuck between a mic and a hard place, battling the space-time continuum for control of my destiny, traveling coast through innuendos of lethargy, hardly noticing I've been waiting for that stop sign to change green. Pardon me, may I borrow a spoonful of sugar to help my medicine stay down? Drown problems in weed smoke to alter reality. Found a way to stay on top of things. Use my ego as a stepladder. Sounds foolproof, cause no man has the balls to make the step shatter. Pound this image in memory. Brushstrokes of symmetry. With a master's in alienation, conquered anonymity. Stand as a friend to me, then instantly stretch words across tracks in distaste of my act to explore rap without understanding the facts. Simply, I'm sick of humans. I only answer to an angel, so the rest of you can deep throat the shaft on which you dangle. I don't mean to be lewd, but they're just constantly under my skin. Then again, when I'm open, I usually invite them in. Though we're on a different page, I'll bless the stage after I vomit. My time is soon to come because change is the only constant. Yeah, so that was the verse of the week. That's the first verse of the week. I'm going to go through the entire song and break everything down. So what does, sorry, that just came out of nowhere. What does this song mean? What does The Only Constant mean? Well, the basis of The Only Constant, change is the only constant. The basis of The Only Constant overall is that, life always throws changes at you. Everything always changes. Nothing ever stays the same. Every day is different from the previous day. Everything, you don't do, even if you have a routine, a daily routine, there's always something that changes within your day on a daily basis. And in this song, I was more talking about how hip hop was going to change with me being a part of it. And accompanied by my man Blueprint.
I'm a rapper.
Oh, you're a rapper?
Here we go.
Oh, okay.
I love the song.
You got a record contract?
Accompanied by my man Blueprint with the hook, with the beautiful hook and the beautiful production as well. We wanted to just convey that, this wasn't going to be the same run-of-the-mill record, hip-hop record that you've heard, even underground. We knew we had something special. If you listen to the songs, especially that one, you know, you can kind of hear like us laughing and stuff in the background, because at the time that we were making it, we knew we were doing something special. We knew we were doing something different. And, you know, the only constant was definitely the way to spark off this record. So, lyric breakdown. Oh, and also, the introduction to Celestial Clockwork was actually from the movie Fallen. It's a Denzel Washington movie. I'm not sure if you guys ever heard it or ever seen it, but that movie was one of my favorite movies. And originally, we had a different introduction for the album, and I'll play the other introduction that we had for the album, and it ended up getting used on the Greenhouse Columbus or Bust album as their intro, but originally it was the Celestial Clockwork intro that Blueprint picked, and I had him change it to the Fallen intro with Denzel Washington. But here is what the original intro actually sounded like, and I'll play that for you guys real quick. You just hear the audio.
Problem is, it's all been done before. You see what I'm saying?
It's from the Crow.
Wrong. Best reason to quit. Only reason
Not sure
to
where
quit.
it's
Man has an idea. The idea attracts others, like-minded. The idea expands. The idea becomes an institution. What was the idea? See, that's what's been bothering me, boys. Because I tell you, when I used to think about the idea itself, it put a big old smile on my face.
You see, gentlemen, greed is for amateurs. Disorder, chaos, anarchy. Now that's fun.
So that was the original intro for Celestial Clockwork, and I didn't think that it really fit where I was going with the record. And I think that the intro that we ended up using actually fit perfectly, because it's talking about time. It's talking about going through time, and in the movie, it's really dope. Like, if you haven't seen the movie, I don't want to spoil it for you, but all these characters sing the song "Time." I believe it's a Rolling Stone song. Is on my side. Yes, it is. But super dope, super dope. So, all right, so let's get into the breakdown. Let's get into the lyric breakdown. So, the song itself, and I'm gonna break down the first verse since I just spit it. The song itself starts out with, I'm stuck between an emotion. I'm stuck between a mic and a hard place, battling the space-time continuum for control of my destiny, traveling, coast through innuendos of lethargy, hardly noticing I've been waiting for that stop sign to change green. Pardon me. And now these first few lines are really apparent and really reflective of where I was in my life, because I did feel like I was stuck between a mic and a hard place, because at this time, 2004 is me and my wife, we got married in 2002, but we were going through a whole lot of different things, and it was very very difficult. We were a young couple, fresh in marriage, and my music career was just taking off. And in 2004, when we dropped Celestial, I had a lot of offers to tour and things like that, and I think I went on one tour, and I ended up taking a break after my first tour. I had a booking agent lined up that wanted to start working with me. It was a lot happening at the time, and I chose my family and chose to kind of stay and take care of the family. So I'm stuck between a mic and a hard place. So the life was the hard place, and the mic, of course, was the music. battling the space-time continuum for control of my destiny. So at the time, I was still trying to work my way through finding jobs when I wasn't touring, and that money wasn't consistent. As far as touring, as far as, getting royalties, because, we weren't making crazy money like that then. But I did get royalty checks, quarterly. And, at times they were good. But for the most part, when I came home from tour, I had to find a little job and, figure some things out. So, stuck between battling the space-time continuum for control of my destiny. So I'm still trying to find out where I was going and, what I was going to accomplish, what I was looking for. So it's the space-time continuum for control of my destiny, traveling, coast through innuendos of lethargy. So I was very lazy. You know what I'm saying? Like I've grown out of that laziness. I just wanted to rap. I just wanted to, get on stage, rock, sell records, and go home. I didn't want to do any of the business stuff. I didn't want to take care of anything outside of me rapping, even if it involved my music career. So, coast through innuendos of lethargy, hardly noticing I've been waiting for that stop sign to change green. So, you ever been, kind of space out? You stop at a stop sign and you kind of space out and you just sit there and, all of a sudden you hear a horn behind you because you just been sitting there and you kind of space out. Like, that's the, the analogy that I'm making to this about my life. Like, I was kind of just stuck, and just not really putting forth the effort in my music career that I wanted to in order to achieve what I wanted to achieve, even though, I was lazy, I was lethargic, I was only really doing what I wanted to do and doing the work, doing the fun stuff, not doing the administrative stuff, not getting involved with my career, like for real, you know what I mean? So that's where those first lines lead. And okay, so going forward, may I borrow a spoonful of sugar to help my medicine stay down, drown problems in weed smoke to alter reality. So a lot of people don't know this, but when I was in college, because I have migraines, I developed a small pill problem, as well as, I smoked a whole hell of a lot of weed when I was in college. And so that's what, that is alluding to. May I borrow a spoonful of sugar to help my medicine stay down, from the song, I think it was Mary Poppins, a spoonful of sugar, to help my medicine stay down, drown problems in weed smoke to alter reality. I was going through a whole lot in the time of writing this. I had moved to Cincinnati and I was going to school at the University of Cincinnati, and my and some of this stuff I've talked about before and talked about on the overview of Celestial Clockwork. You can check that out on Beats and B-Sides on my YouTube page, where I did the 16-year anniversary and kind of went through the songs, and told little stories, but this is the deep dive. So I went to the University of Cincinnati because my father and his family was there. And, I went to the University of Cincinnati to try to get closer to them. Little did I know, my music career would begin there in Cincinnati. And also, I knew Blueprint went there. I knew J. Rawls. I knew a few people, that went there. Dose One. I had met him prior to be going. And, I just wanted to, get that relationship popping. And unfortunately, when I got to the University of Cincinnati, the relationship didn't grow as I had planned, and I was super depressed. I had lost a girlfriend at the time that I was with all through high school. And, I was really, really depressed. And on top of the migraines and me popping the pills, I smoked a lot of weed. So that's where that is. So drown my problems in weed smoke to alter reality. Found a way to stay on top of things. Use my ego as a step ladder. Sounds foolproof because no man has the balls to make the step shatter. Now this line is just kind of me tooting my own horn and basically saying, I found a way to stay on top of this depression. The way that I was, getting myself out of my depression is writing my rhymes. So during the time of me writing my rhymes, that allowed me to transport myself into a better place, and also gave me an outlet to get out any of my, bad and dark feelings, which is why Celestial Clockwork, is the moody record that it is, because I was using this time to break out of my depression. I was utilizing my pen and pad and, you know, the divine inspiration that I was getting to write this record and my other records, you know, to break me out of that as my therapy. You know what I mean? And at this time, whenever I was writing, whenever I was on stage, I didn't think nobody could mess with me. I was to me, I was the pinnacle of MC whenever I touched the mic. So it's basically saying, you know, I use my ego as a step ladder. It sounds foolproof because no man has the balls to make the step shatter. I was thinking that nobody could touch me when I was in that place. Okay, so foolproof, no, because no man has the balls to make the step shatter. Pound this image in memory, brushstrokes of symmetry. With a master's in alienation, I conquered anonymity. Now, I'm at anybody that has known me before, I'm a very introverted person. I keep to myself, and luckily, you know, I had friends that were outgoing, and you know, and being around them, it allowed me to be a little more outgoing. So, you know, like conquering anonymity during the beginning of my career, a lot of people didn't know a lot about me because I didn't do a lot of interviews. I did a few, and I didn't even really talk to fans at shows that much. I was just kind of, you know, in my own little world and would be in my own little corner. So that's that. Now, these next lines have an interesting story behind them. Stand as a friend to me, then instantly stretch words across tracks in distaste of my act to explore rap without understanding the facts. Simply, I'm sick of humans. I only answer to an angel, so the rest of you can deep throat the shaft on which you dangle. I don't mean to be lewd, but they're just constantly under my skin. Then again, when I'm open, I usually invite them in. Now, this whole section, I was still, you know, a lot of people also don't know that Celestial Clockwork was actually written after Unforeseen Shadows and before Got Lyrics. So Celestial Clockwork was actually planned to be my second album, and we ended up doing Got Lyrics instead. But at the time of Unforeseen, I had an old crew called The Third, and I've talked about them before. And at the time, they had kicked me out of the crew, and you know, we had issues, and so this was a little, you know, hit at them, saying, you know, stand as a friend to me, then instantly stretch words across tracks in distaste of my act to explore rap without understanding the facts. Now, at that time, when I did Unforeseen Shadows, I felt that the reason that they kicked me out of the group was because I did this solo album. And I did it without them. Even though on the solo album, I gave them a lot of shout outs. I was, you know, shouting them out and, you know, making sure that people knew I was part of The Third. You know what I'm saying? Even Blacksmith was actually a Third Eye member, and he was actually on Unforeseen. And, you know, at the time, I felt for them to kick me out, and, you know, like, it just wasn't cool. You know what I'm saying? Like, I felt like I was getting, you know, like, kicked out of my family at the time, you know what I'm saying? So that's how I felt, and that's where that line, where those lines came from. And, you know, like saying I'm simply sick of humans. I only answer to an angel. So the whole thing was like, I was tired of dealing with, you know, losing family. It's what I felt they were family, and also having to deal with, you know, cats outside that would tell me that my raps were too abstract, would tell me that, oh, you got to do it this way. The way you're doing it ain't going to work because people ain't going to understand what you're saying, and blah, 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 blah. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know where that was. But, you know, so I'm sick of humans. I only answer to an angel. I only answer to God. I don't answer to anybody that has anything to say, you know, about me or about my style or about what I choose to do with my hip hop career. You know what I'm saying? And saying, you know, then again, when I'm open, I usually invite them in, because when I'm open, when I'm out here and I'm doing my thing, the haters can come, you know, like that just makes me stronger, and it lets me know that I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing as an MC. You know what I'm saying? And then the last line, though we're on a different page, I'll bless the stage after I vomit. My time is soon to come because change is the only constant. And at the time, there was a lot of hip hop was in a different place, you know, in the early 2000s. You know, it was jiggy. You know, everybody had to make, you know, these, you know, love songs with somebody singing on the hook and, you know, as singles and, you know, things like that. And, you know, it was time for a change, and I felt like I was, you know, the head of that change. I felt like I was the leading force of that change, along with my peers that I was working with at the time, you know, the Aesop Rocks and the Anacons and so on and so forth. So that's the first verse breakdown of The Only Constant. Y'all enjoying this or what? Y'all enjoying this? Y'all like seeing the backstory of, you know, how things work as far as the lyrics. Now, second verse goes, I bask in time's shadow on a bed of orange and amber leaves once emerald, hearing echoes of chalk outlines ringing my lobes, rhythmic break beats bang on eardrums as life unfolds. 'Cause I'm no longer a man of yesterday but of tomorrow, heart pumping blue liquid life so drowning is sweet sorrow. Legs dance off beat on tables in presence of enemies, reflecting serenities with IVs of diseased remedies, curing purity in defense of the passive. As the one telling the story, I have the right to ad-lib. It's called change. Illogic always against the grain. It's called strange, and I'm aware now that this hell on earth is called fame. Aim at your consciousness for a metamorphosis, from the instant gratification of hares to the patience of tortoises. Rest in tranquility. You now embody the brilliance of comets. Your time is soon to come because change is the only constant. Now the second verse, I don't know what that sound is. Now the second verse of this joint, you know, kind of sums up, you know, everything that I was talking about, you know, and where I wanted to go and where I wanted to take music, and how I felt about the people that, you know, thought that I was doing something outside of what hip hop was. The whole basis of hip hop is creativity. The whole basis of hip hop is originality. The whole basis of hip hop is being yourself and being someone, you know, that stands out from the crowd and that people can recognize as doing something special. And, you know, the culmination of that was in this second verse. Now, so let's go through the second verse. I bask in time's shadow on a bed of orange and amber leaves once emerald, hearing echoes of chalk outlines ringing my lobes, rhythmic breakbeats bang on eardrums as life unfolds. Now, I bask in time's shadow. Basically, time is the thing that basically is, you know, that we live by. You know, everything that we do is according to time. So in reality, we are all in time's shadow because time is the driving force of everything that we do. We have to be at work at a certain time. I had to start this stream at a certain time. There's a certain day that, you know, the vinyl is shipping. There's a certain day that, you know, you have a doctor's appointment, a day and time. There's a time for everything. People have dinner time. People have bedtime. Time is the controlling factor in everything that we do. So, you know, that's where, you know, I wanted to kind of emphasize and keep driving home the time topic throughout. That's going to be strung throughout the record. That's going to, you know, be kind of the backdrop of this entire piece. And when I say hearing echoes of chalk outlines ringing my lobes, rhythmic breakbeats bang on eardrums as life unfolds. Now, when I was growing up, I had, you know, aunts like very close to me, a lot of family members that passed away, and, you know, like I still feel that they're with me. I still feel that they are speaking through me and speaking to me and giving me insight to life and giving me insight to things, you know, through divine inspiration. And So that's what, I was talking about when I said hearing echoes of hearing echoes of chalked outlines ringing my lobes, rhythmic break beats bang on eardrums as life unfolds. So, music is the soundtrack to my life. It's a soundtrack to everybody's life. And that's what that, was saying. And then the next line, cause I'm no longer a man of yesterday, but of tomorrow. Heart pumping blue liquid life, so drowning is sweet sorrow. Legs dance off beat on tables in presence of enemies, requesting serenity with IVs of diseased remedies. So, cause I'm no longer a man of yesterday, but of tomorrow. I'm not the same stuff that you've been listening to. I'm not the same type of MC that you've been accustomed to. I'm no longer a man of yesterday, and I'm also learning myself and learning how to grow and not being trapped in the past like I was with my father, dealing with him, growing up without him. And all of the things that I experienced throughout my childhood, that I had carried with me, which is what's part of my depression, which is why, I dove so deep and I got so deep in being depressed. So I'm no longer a man of yesterday, but of tomorrow. Heart pumping blue liquid life, like my heart is still beating. I'm still alive. I'm still here. Because I had suicidal thoughts. I, attempted suicides a few times. Like I was really in a dark place, so heart pumping blue liquid life. So drowning is sweet sorrow. Our hearts pump, our blood is actually blue, not red. And when it's inside of our bodies, it turns red when it comes out. So, heart pumping blue liquid life. So drowning is sweet sorrow. I'm drowning in the life that, I've been blessed with and blessed to keep. And the fact that I was still alive and still here and still kicking was definitely, a blessing to me. And
I am sorry.
It was really hard dealing with a lot of that stuff in college, and being blessed with this gift that allowed me to kind of work myself out of it. I didn't have to go to a therapist, and nothing wrong with therapy. I definitely recommend it, to people if you need it. But luckily I had this, and I had this outlet. Everybody doesn't have this outlet, so I'm still here. You know what I mean? Legs dance off beat on tables in presence of enemies, requesting serenity with IVs of disease remedies. So basically, like, this is basically saying I wasn't perfect. You know what I mean? Like, even though my enemies are watching, even though I got people that didn't want me to get where I was going, didn't want me to get where I was heading to in my life and in my music career, sometimes I made mistakes. Sometimes I would fall. Sometimes I wouldn't do everything correctly. Dancing off beat on tables in presence of enemies. Like, and people saw me fall. You know what I'm saying? But it didn't deter me from continuing to press forward and, do my best to fulfill my purpose. All right, so next lines. Curing purity in defense of the passive. As the one telling the story, I have the right to ad-lib. It's called change. Illogic always against the grain. It's called strange, and I'm aware now that there's hell on earth. It's called fame. In saying curing purity, this is where, and this was 2004. And, curing purity in defense of the passive was basically talking about cancel culture before there was a cancel culture. It wasn't necessarily talking about people getting canceled, but there was all of this. There was a lot of political correctness that was even happening back then, and what was politically correct in hip hop, what was, acceptable and what was not acceptable. This is why we had to go to the underground to create the stuff that we created, because there was a status quo. There was people that said, oh, that's not real hip hop. Oh, you saying, even, I think I told the story before about how, and shout out to Guru, rest in peace, one of the greatest, but Guru told me I used too many big words. He said he wasn't feeling me when I, rapped for him in a cypher. And, like there was this idea of what hip hop was supposed to be. And artists like me, artists like Slug, artists like, the Shapeshifters, and artists like A$AP Rock, and artists like, the list goes on, continue to redefine, what hip hop was. And, we were damn good at it. You know what I'm saying? And, it turned into a whole, genre of, backpack hip hop, as they called it back then. So, and saying it in defense of the passive. So curing purity in defense of the passive. There was a lot of people that didn't speak up. There was a lot of people that didn't, that allowed that to back them down, that allowed that to, make them cower a little bit in the eyes of the limelight and in the eyes of, not wanting to get dissed, not wanting people to talk shit about them. You know what I'm saying? They cowered in that. So, curing purity in defense of the passive, as the one telling the story, as the person that's giving you these lyrics, of the person that's living this life, of the person that's going through this career. I have the right to ad-lib. I have the right to be flexible. I have the right to be creative. It's called change. Illogic, always against the grain. It's called strange. I've always been considered strange. I've always been different. When everybody was outside riding bikes and playing basketball, not saying I didn't do those things, but I was in the crib reading Choose Your Own Adventure books. I was in the crib playing video games and watching cartoons. I was in the crib drawing and doing graffiti. You know what I'm saying? Like, I was always a little different than everybody that was around me. You know what I'm saying? So, Illogic, always against the grain. It's called strange. And I'm aware now that there's hell on earth. It's called fame. And granted, I wasn't crazy famous. You know what I'm saying? Of course I wasn't crazy famous. But the fact that I got to a place where it caused people to have a reaction in distaste of what I was doing, or where they felt like they even had to say something about what I was doing. The fact that they felt like there needed to be something said, in the front of people, in the eyes of people, because, back then we didn't have social media, but we had message boards, and we had, people that would post on message boards, and, all kind of crazy stuff, and stuff would get back to us, through the grapevine and stuff like that. And, like, I wasn't crazy famous, but I understood that the fact that I was getting more known and getting more notoriety, it was causing me to lose friends. It was causing me to, be a little more in the limelight. And, sometimes it wasn't the greatest, sometimes it wasn't the greatest. So, I'm aware now that there's hell on earth. It's called fame. Aim at your consciousness for metamorphosis, from the instant gratification of hares to the patience of tortoises. Rest in tranquility. You now embody the brilliance of comets. Your time is soon to come, because change is the only constant. So, this was just a statement of me saying that the type of music that I'm going to be making going forward throughout my career, and, most of you can attest to this if you've been following my career, I'm speaking to you at a different level. I'm speaking to you on a different place. Even when I am, spitting bars and just, murdering MCs and stuff, is still on an elevated plane. Aim at your consciousness for a metamorphosis. And hopefully, one of the things that I always tell my children is, make sure that people are better off after they meet you than they were before they did. And that's something that I live by. And I always hoped and always prayed that, after people listen to my music, that it would cause a change in them, that it would cause them to think about things a little differently, at least have, a different perspective, even if they didn't like my perspective and didn't agree with my perspective. But just allowing them to have a different perspective would hopefully, give them a little more understanding about the world, and maybe a little, something different to look at, in the eyes of things that they were used to. Aim at your consciousness for metamorphosis, from the instant gratification of hares to the patience of tortoises. Of course, the story of the tortoise and the hare. The hare, did everything that he could because he knew he would beat the tortoise, because the tortoise is so slow. But the tortoise is patient. The tortoise always kept on the path. The tortoise didn't allow things to distract him from his path, from his goal. And that's how the tortoise won. And, ideally, everybody that listened to my music would, change and, be this patient person. And, I would be that patient person throughout my life. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes I, look for the instant gratification as well. But over the time that I've been growing as a man and as a human being and as a, musician, I have learned patience is one of the most important things that you could ever have, as a human being. So, I just want other people to be able to experience that and have that patience tool in their toolkit. You know what I mean? Rest in tranquility. When something is tranquil, it's peaceful. So I just want you to, rest in peace. You know what I'm saying? Not that sounded like saying RIP, but resting in peace doesn't necessarily mean resting in death. A lot of people look at death as the ultimate peace, and it is, but there is possibilities of having peace while we're still here on earth if we allow ourselves to. So after this song, I'm saying, you now embody the brilliance of comets. Just saying that, listening to this song hopefully gives you, a new light. You know what I'm saying? That, you feel a little more empowered after you listen to this song. You feel a little more, like you can do whatever comes to your mind after this song. You know what I'm saying? So you now embody the brilliance of comets. Your time is soon to come because change is the only constant. No matter what you're going through right now, no matter what life is throwing at you, no matter what you feel about yourself, there's always going to be a brighter day down the line if you continue to work, if you have that patience, if you have that want to, if you have that drive, if you have that discipline, your time will come. Because like I said in the beginning, everything changes. Everything changes. Nothing is ever the same day after day. Everything changes. So your time is soon to come. If your time ain't today, your time could be tomorrow. Your time might be next year. Your time might be 5 years from now. But your time is soon to come. Because change is the only constant. So that's it, man. That's it for, the first deep dive, man. And I'm hoping that y'all really enjoyed this. I enjoyed talking about it. And I'm going to do this for every song every week here at 9 o'clock. On all of my platforms. And also, if you haven't picked up the Celestial Clockwork vinyl reissue, it's a little less than 150 left, so don't sleep. It comes with the bonus song Say the Word that you guys have been asking me about, and it also is dual colored, so one is gold, one is green. If you've seen the picture that I showed earlier, one is gold, one is green. And you get the instrumentals as well to come with it, and a vintage, the original Celestial Clockwork poster that we pressed up when we put the album out. That comes with it as well. So, I really appreciate you guys checking this out, and I hope that this does inspire somebody, and I hope y'all, come hang out with me on the next one. All right, 9 p.m. on Monday nights. Deep dive Celestial Clockwork. Next week, I will be diving deep into Birthright. All right, y'all. Have a good night. Thank y'all for listening. Truly appreciate it. Peace.